Oh, no, Christie's he's eating right now. He can't be bothered. Sir, please do not call him a fat pig.
It disgusts me because there's no need for it.
I don't really want to see a candidate try their hand at stand-up comedy. I'd rather go see a comedian of my own choice. I don't like his humor. I don't really have anything flattering to say about Donald Trump, aside from his policies.
I like him because he always speaks the truth. And just because people don't like the way he says it, everybody's so sensitive in the U.S.
He's speaking his mind, and that's one of the problems with a lot of the other candidates is that they're too, in some ways, they're too guarded.
Meanwhile,
look here.
CNN is warning their viewers that Donald Trump has a real chance of winning the general elections against Biden. Their panic is real. So this idea that Donald Trump can win general election, I want you to lose that idea. This race is very, very close. Donald Trump is pulling better right now than basically at any point during the entire 2020 cycle. After 4 indictments, it just doesn't really seem to matter. That is fascinating.
Look here. This is Quinnipiac University. It was a 2-point race in February. Look where it is now. It's a 1-point race. That's well within the margin of error. But take away one thing from this, and one thing only if you take away only one thing. And that is, I think there are a lot of Democrats who simply can't believe that Donald Trump can be elected president again. The polling indicates that Trump is, in fact, in a stronger position at this point than he was during the entire 2020 campaign, according to the national polls. If we had state-level polling, I wouldn't even be surprised if Trump were ahead in the swing states that are most important, Jim. Trump's lead is even larger. So these are 3 polls that were out over the last week. Look at these leads for Donald Trump. He's at 62% in the CBS News YouGov poll, 57% in Quinnipiac University, 53% in the Fox News poll. Look at where DeSantis is in all these polls. Look how far back he is. He doesn't crack 20% in any of them. So in Iowa, you have that 20-plus point lead for Donald Trump. That's actually smaller than the lead we see nationally, where we see these leads of 35, 40, near 50 points in this particular case. Of course, the primary is one thing. If Trump wins the primary, can he go on and win the general election? And we've had 3 polls that have come out over the last week here. And I want you to take a look at how close this race is at this particular point. Granted, the general election is over a year away. The largest lead for Joe Biden is just 3 points within the margin of error. No clear leader. Look at these. 1 point, 1 point. If you go back at where we were at this point 4 years ago, Joe Biden's lead was high single digits to low double digits. This is significantly closer than where we were 4 years ago. So this idea that Donald Trump can't win the general election, I want you to lose that idea. This race is very, very close, and Donald Trump is polling better right now than basically at any point during the entire 2020 cycle.
After 4 indictments.
After 4 indictments. It just doesn't really seem to matter.
That's fascinating.
Harry Enten, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, the BBC have this to say pertaining to the indictment. Why Trump poll lead went up after criminal indictment. The former U.S. president has been indicted about 4 times in the past 4 months. Once in New York for alleged financial crime, once in a federal court on charge that he mishandled sensitive government documents and obstructed an investigation. On Tuesday, he was indicted in federal court on charges he conspired to overturn the result of the 2020 election, then the one in Georgia. Now, when you take a look at this, he is also facing a 4th possible indictment. This article was published 3 weeks ago. An average of opinion polls from the 31st suggests he has commanding lead of 37 points over his nearest rival, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, and even Biden. No one else in the crowd field up to 14 candidate scores over 6%, and more than half of them are not even 1%. Back in mid-February, Trump leads over Mr. DeSantis in the average polls was just 2 points, 41 to 39. That turned out to be the Florida governor high point so far. However, why His star has faded and his poll numbers have plummeted. Mr. Trump's support has remained rock solid. And since the first indictment was brought in the first week of April, making Mr. Trump the first former US president to face criminal charges, it has actually grown. According to the average of polls, Mr. Trump has been the first choice of a majority of Republican voters ever since the first arrest and court appearance, according to Clifford Young, president of U.S. Public Affairs, with the bond between Donald Trump and his supporter, which equate to about 40% to 45% of the Republican electorate, will be difficult to break. They see the world through his eyes. He says his base belief he is being wrong. They believe that the indictment are politically motivated. After Mr. Trump's indictment for allegedly returning classified documents, the BBC spoke with a panel of Republican voters about their views on the former US president and found similar sentiment. This is so obviously a blatant attempt to take Mr. Trump out of presidential running. 61-year-old Trump supporting Ruby Solen of Arizona said, "It is a sad day for our nation considering that others, including Mr. Biden, have caught with classified documents in their possession. How big are Donald Trump's legal problem can realize what is going on. All the indictments backfired. They thought by now Trump would not be strong like this, but shockingly, the polls keep going on. It is to tell you something. The people are awake. They see what is going on, so you cannot tell them otherwise. The Democrat thought they would use this indictment to broker him financially, and after that, his political career will be over. But instead, they never knew that doing him a more favor. It might look like a disadvantage at a certain point, but sometimes when you look deep into it, you will see what is happening. I've recently seen Fox News trying to ban Trump because he rejected that he would not partake during the debate. To me, that was the right decision for him to take up, not to be part of this debate. There are lots he waited in my head. Now, some kind of ridiculous questions, some kind of, you know, insult will be coming up just within his base during this debate. So to avoid this, he's already up. Some says, he's disrespecting to his followers or he doesn't want to talk to Americans. It is insane. People that sees it that way should take it that way. Fox News get up. I don't know. They have actually banned him. What exactly? I'm seeing news circulating on social media pertaining to this.